It's my pleasure to introduce you. The first topic of the day will be from Ask Phill. It's about the importance of your platform optimization in times of expensive ads. So please give me a round of applause for co-founder Martijn Wijsmuller and Arthur Moreau. Where are they?
So, good afternoon, everyone. Great to see familiar faces, but also a lot of unknown faces. It's great to see still people coming in. Feel free to get over to this side. We have more spots available here. So my name is Martijn. I'm here today with Arthur, and we're going to tell you a bit about how you should optimize your e-commerce platform. And especially in times of expensive ads, rising cost of acquisition, and other challenges, we think it's important to focus on how you can get more revenue from your platform. So today we'll do a run-through of some very handy tips. We'll even have a quiz at the end, so we'll test your knowledge. The winner of the quiz will get a free workshop with us in the office, so make sure to join as well. For the ones who don't know Ask Phill yet, we're Ask Phill. We build data-driven, scalable e-commerce. We mainly do that for direct-to-consumer brands in the fashion, lifestyle, and beauty industries. We're based in Amsterdam, and we're a certified Shopify Plus partner. And our team specializes in design, development, data and growth, and optimizing the platform. And we do that with around 60 people, all digital natives from our office in Amsterdam. So the type of brands we work with, like I said, mainly focus on direct-to-consumer. We really enjoy working with the brands who are really about brand experience, and it's a mix between SMB brands, but also some of them are corporates who want to know what the direct-to-consumer strategy is all about. So, like I said, we're going to talk about the importance of performance optimization in times of expensive ads. And first, we're going to explain a bit why you should bother in the first place. I think that's important. Then Arthur is going to tell you a bit more about how you should actually do A/B tests of your platform, where you should focus on, and what the foundation is to being able to do proper A/B tests, which are reliable and actually add value to your brand. And I think then we also want to look at some real-life cases and show you what actually works and what have been some of the results we had for some of the brands we work with, and also to show you how big of a difference a small change can be. So let's start off with why should you bother A/B testing of your platform? I think everyone here in the room thinks it's super clear why I should bother, because I can optimize the platform, get more add to carts, get a higher conversion rate, and eventually rack in more revenue. And especially this importance have grown after the cost of acquisition and the cost of advertising increased as a result of increased competition on platforms like Facebook, Instagram. When COVID started, more people went online and started buying ads for the platform. I think another big reason for the rising cost of acquisition is the increased privacy rules, so the cookie policies, and we see that the moment iOS 14 came to stage, the data was less reliable, so also because of that, cost would probably increased. Then at the same time, at Ask Phill, we realized that everyone talks about A/B tests, but not everyone does it, or they don't do it in a structured way, or they do it without having the foundation set properly. So the A/B tests are maybe not that reliable, or the data is not that reliable. And today we want to give you insight and inspire you, like how you can make it more reliable for your brand in the future. And Arthur will also dive a bit deeper in how we do data-driven A/B testing instead of only focusing on qualitative A/B tests, so looking at a page and coming up with hypotheses to improve the platform, to really base it on data you get from your platform and then decide where to focus on. And I think the most important question is, where should you start as a brand?
All right. So what we see a lot with brands is that the most important is to start with data tracking. Data tracking is the pillar of a healthy e-commerce. Then after that, once you've done the data tracking, you can do qualitative and quantitative analysis, which I'll demonstrate a bit further later. And then after that, you can start in the growth loop, which is really the methodology on how to grow your business. I'm talking about data tracking here as really a pillar of the growing commerce. So what you see here is that server-side data tracking, with a certain type of more robust data tracking, that's what you can see, is the underpinning stone between cheaper cost of acquisition and more quantitative CRO. And that leads to the growing e-commerce. But let me present you a bit more what I mean with data tracking and what we can actually do for iOS 14. So what you see on the screen here, the red line represents a typical journey of how a brand actually tracks data. You have your website, and the data goes directly to Google Analytics, and there is a big red circle, which is the stop, which is the iOS 14. iOS 14 currently blocks a lot of data tracking. So what actually happens on your website is that, let's say your website is loading, then someone is using iOS 14. iOS 14 will recognize the scripts where it's written like Google Tag Manager or Google Analytics, and it will stop them. We say, I download this script. So people with iOS 14 actually download this script, just browse your website normally, but you don't see that appearing in the data. You don't see that appearing in Google Analytics. And then what you have is that a data loss. At the moment of analyzing the data, when you're in Google Analytics, there are a lot of people missing, and you don't see because for Google Analytics, they never ever existed. So that's why we think about there is better way of doing data tracking. And what you see here is that what we call first-party tracking. First-party tracking means actually you create a subdomain. So here, for instance, is data.askphill.com. What actually happens is that there is a script that do not send the data to Google Analytics, but actually send it to your subdomain. So iOS 14 arrives, and it's ready to block all the scripts with GTM and GA. It sees no scripts with GM and GA and GTM, because you only see one script, and it's sending to your own subdomain. So iOS 14 says, OK, fine to me, the data can go through. The data then goes through your subdomain, and after that, only sent to Google Tag Manager and sent to Google Analytics. Speaking about Google Analytics here, of course, but we can speak about many marketing channels, such as Facebook ads, Google ads, Bing, and so on. So this is one of the methods we're using to actually go around iOS 14. You may wonder, is this legal? And I can tell you, yes, it is legal, because iOS 14 is no legislation. iOS 14 is just a software implementation. So now you may also wonder, but what about GDPR? What about consent? Because it's also a consent problem. Well, GDPR, this is a law. So even if people don't give you the consent, they will still not appear in Google Analytics. That's why we've created another version that goes even deeper into that, which we call server-side tracking. And that's the black box you can see on the bottom left here. On the bottom right, sorry. So what actually happens is that we branch out the data that goes to Google Tag Manager, and we send them to your own data warehouse. Imagine it's just a big Excel sheet where you see all the data, even with or without consent, and it's there. And then if you want to analyze this data or apply machine learning on it, which I'm very fond of as a data nerd, but maybe you don't want to go as far. But if you want to really analyze your data, that's where you will find the full data. So why is it actually legal, even if people don't give you consent? It is because it is all happening on your platform. So it is your Shopify, you're making the data tracking, and it goes to your data warehouse. Everywhere, everything happens in your environment. What GDPR actually says is that you cannot send data without consent to third party. But if it stays in your environment, if it stays first party, then you can keep all the data. So these are solutions we implement. Of course, once the data is in the data warehouse, you cannot send it back without the consent to Google Analytics and GTM. This is not permitted. But still, you have one source of truth with all the data in one place. And the moment you ask, OK, how is my website performing, you have the data to analyze it. So this is data tracking on steroid. And this is, of course, the underpinning foundation. Now, going a bit further, we were speaking about the qualitative analysis. Once you have data tracking set correctly, often you may call a growth hacker or a UX agency and ask, OK, how can I improve my website? Typically, they would do such kind of analysis. So you have a simple PDP, and they will go, as UX experts, they will go through and they will say, OK, for instance, we see that the USP on the top bar is different than from the USP shown here. And then they will go further, they will see ships on the 25th of May, and they will say, well, maybe it's better to say ships in 3 days. Or again, they would see the color button, and they would say, maybe the color picker should be bigger. Here, you have a pure qualitative perspective on the PDP, which, don't get me wrong, it is very important. Working with growth hacker and conversion expert to get this kind of opportunity is very important. But this is only half of the picture. You made so much effort to track your data and to have all the right data that you also know about the user to their data behavior. And that's the second part that is often forgotten and that I want to put on the picture today, which is more the quantitative analysis. So how does that work, actually? The quantitative analysis, we start by tracking everything. So what you see here is that a website, and it's supposed to be a video, but I see it's not working, but it doesn't matter. The point is that every section on the website is tracked. So what you see in the example is that the point 12, section view product form, then 13, section interaction, 14, section viewed, 15, section view. We are tracking every single section on your website. We're tracking every interaction happening on a website. If someone changes color, if someone scrolls left, right, horizontally, vertically, this is all tracked. This is all behavioral data. And you can use this data to actually do something when we think about CRO or optimization of the platform. And let me show you actually what you could do. This is an example of an analysis we did. So what you see on the left side is you see all different events. For instance, color selected, product info click, product remove, and so on. What we did is that we used the data I showed you previously, we fed that in an algorithm, and then we get this kind of score. So if I show that, for instance, and I have to analyze that together with the clients, what we see is the top priority is color selected. But what does actually the score shown here means? The score means the higher the score, the more likely is a person who triggers this event to convert. So what we see here is that color selected, when people trigger this event, they are very likely to convert. So now I have the whole picture. On one side, I have the qualitative analysis, where the UX expert told me maybe the color picker should be bigger. But he could not determine what was the most important or the most impactful between the color picker and, for instance, the USB bar. And then we have a second analysis that tells you, well, data-wise, the color picker should be the priority. Data-wise, the color picker should be the best opportunity. So now you have both sides. You have qualitative and quantitative insights, and you turn that into a growth loop. The growth loop is actually the methodology on how to grow e-commerce. Very simply said, this is 4 stages. You may recognize this stage from other agency. This is not brand new, but this is how we work with Ask Phill. In the first part, the black part, you analyze the website. Qualitative, quantitative analysis put together. In the second part, we have the ideate part, where we see now we have spotted all the problem. How can we solve them together? You bring the third part, where you often bring either a designer, and then you frame the experiment. What time frame, what metrics will be measured. So you really set the box around the experiment. Then you pass it to the developer who will implement it on your website. But let me give you a very concrete example of how that works in practice. So, for instance, this is NoLabel, a great client we're working with. NoLabel, for instance, we analyzed, and then we saw, OK, color picker was a bit small. The same way we did quantitative analysis. Again, the color picker that you saw was very impactful. So we say, OK, we need to work on the color picker. Then what happens once you have to make the analysis is that you make the hypothesis that we believe the color picker should be bigger, and the metrics, which is the framing part. We will measure the increase in conversion rate. And then after that, you take this experiment, you pass it to one of the Ask Phill developer who puts that on the website, and then you see the result. So you see the previous version on the left and the new version of the right. The previous version has a very small color picker, and the new version has big color picker. And what you see in this A/B testing is that you see a 12.2% increase in conversion rate. This is huge. And this score could be attained solely by combining quantitative and qualitative analysis. If you only focus on the qualitative analysis when you try to increase your website, you will have less good rewards. And I think this is the end. I will pass now to Martijn, who will show you other examples of experiments, and we'll finish up by a quiz about experiments.
Yeah, so of course, not every experiment turns into 12.2% conversion rate increase. I think everyone understands that. But it's good to understand that every A/B test you do actually adds value to your company. Because if you have an A/B test before pushing a feature which shows that the new feature would decrease your conversion rate with 5%, for example, then you know we should not push this change or feature. So that's also part of like data-driven A/B testing, but also data-driven development. Before pushing a new feature, ensure that you know what's going to happen with your metrics on the platform itself. And I think it's interesting to see some of the examples we had with other clients, just to get an idea of how small a change can be and actually has an impact on conversion rate. Like I said, I will show some of the success cases. Not every experiment is as great as this, but here you see the product page of Pata on mobile. And you see in the bottom, they on the previous version, they said free delivery over 185 euros. Version A. And they thought, like, how can we include scarcity to this proposition? So in version B, they said instead of free delivery under 185 euros, which is quite an odd number, and you need to spend a lot before you get free shipping. We said, let's show how many items there are left. And it says like there are only 9 items left. The result was an 18% increase in add to cart. That's a huge difference for any brand, with just changing a line of text. I think also it's important to look at some blocking things on your platform. So this was actually you don't even see it, the call to action if you want to first add something to cart on the left, and on the right you want to go checkout. There are 2 pop-ups there. I think most of the pop-ups are quite familiar. So we have a Georgia's pop-up, as well as something to get notified about a new collection. I would never advise to have someone look at a new collection when they're in the checkout. That's quite strange to push them away. So we took away those 2 pop-ups only on the cart or on the checkout, and it actually, so on the product page, it resulted in a 25% add to cart increase. That's a quarter extra add to cart. So that will add up to the end of the funnel and to your revenue. So I think, I think it's important to look at your platform from a qualitative and a quantitative perspective, and combine those 2 and see like what are improvements we can think of based on data and based on the team to make the platform better. I think for now we're planning to do a quiz. Like I said, the ones who have the most questions right win a free workshop in our office to do an audit of their platform. So over to you, Arthur.
It's a quiz. All right. Can we show the QR code to the quiz? So we all ask you to pick your phone. This is a quiz while you vote with your phone, and you're going to get points. So we'll see everyone appearing. Right, we're here. Okay, do not press yet, do not start yet. We need to first see the attendance. People online, You can also vote. You can also scan the QR code, and you can also participate. It's a very interactive experiment. People of Ask Phill as well, feel free to participate. You can also use emojis to participate and interact. All right, we see 127 attendees, 128. Woo!
Okay.
Before we kickstart, I will explain how it will work. So the goal here is to tell you how much data can actually bring to the qualitative impact. So we'll show experiments, and we'll ask your judgment expert, so you don't have any data, and to see whether the experiment was a success. Most of the experiments will show are a success. So we'll have always 4 options that we'll see on the left part of the screen. The first option is it was a huge success, which means that the conversion rate increased from 10% or more. Second option, it was a medium success, so it was from 5 to 10% increase. Third option, it was a little success, so from 1 to 5%. Last option, it was either inconclusive or not a success or negative. So we go from 1, 0, or minus negative %. These will always be the 4 options. For every question, the 4 options won't change. It will always be the same. What's going to be on the left part of the screen always will be the experiment itself. So when the question will start, I will start explaining the experiments at the same time as the time will running out. So feel free to vote as fast as you can. Small tips, the earlier you vote, the more you have points at the end, and there will be a leaderboard with all the best scores. So the more you listen to me, the more I will go in details into the experiments, and the more you will understand the experiments, and the more I will let clues for you to know how it works. All right, I hope everyone is there. We have 148 attendees. All right, so be ready with your phone. May we click? Does it work? Yes. Okay, first question will start soon. The experiment is, all right, 500 points. Sticky call to action. So, when we have, as you see here on the experiment, with a PDP, and sometime on the PDP, you have a sticky call to actions. So on the A part, you see no sticky call to action. You scroll and you may see the add to carts. On the right part, you see the sticky call to action. So however you scroll, you can always see the call to action always be there. I see there is no response. Is there? It's not working. All right.
Okay, nice.
So then, please drop emojis.
Moet hier
All right.
start worden.
Back. Okay, let's try to make it work again. It is working now. It's because I pressed with this remote. All right, back to our first question. Then I hope your answer is already ready. All right, the quiz will start in 4 seconds. Can I pass this? 3, 2, 2. All right, I think the website is overloaded, so much enthusiasm in the room. And yes, 500 points. Thank you very much. Okay, sticky call to action. So again, version A, no sticky call to action. Just you scroll, you may see the add to carts, or you may scroll further. Version B, the sticky call to action. The call to action is always there. So you may scroll as much as you want. There is always the add to cart or pre-order now here in the case that is there. How much did it bring? Was it a good experiment, a middle experiment, a little experiment, or an inconclusive experiment? Conversion rates, yeah. No, add to cart here. So the conversion rate of the metric that was measured, here the add to cart. Right, 100 for, yes?
We have 5 minutes.
All right.
Yep.
All right, we have 143 attendees, almost 139 answers. Let's dive directly into the answers. Right answer was medium experiment. Not such a great idea.
Okay.
Still a good one. And we see people were very sure. They didn't know if it was a very good one or a mild one. Let's move forward. You answer, receive 500 points. Scarcity. You already just saw it in PATA. This was the same PATA experiment, but do you remember how good it was? Was it a very good experiment? Was it a medium experiment, a small experiment, or inconclusive? Again, scarcity is what's presented at the bottom of the right one. Only 9 items left. This triggers people. This is a psychological trick. Do people buy in or not? All right. I see almost 129 answers. I think we can move onwards. 130.
Yes.
There are a few last people. All right, next. 10% or more. This was a very successful, and I'm very glad to see that 90% of the people are paying attention to this presentation. All right. Next one, 500 points. You have seen it as well, unblocking the CTA. This was the example of PATA again, when there is pop-up in front of the CTA. It is super common, way more common than you may believe for your own e-commerce. But do you remember if it was a huge win, a small win, a little win, or inconclusive? How big was it? Was it a crazy success for PATA, or was it a mild success? And it was crazy success again. I'm very happy to see again that 76% of the people are listening. Right, let's make it slightly more complex now, and let's not show experiments we have already shown. 500 points still, I don't know. Persistent search bar. This is an experiment for no label. At some point we thought, what if we put the search bar of a persistent way? If people search, they find the items they want, they come back more, maybe they like your website more. What is the one working best? So was it a big success, a medium success, little success, or maybe inconclusive success? What do you think was the trigger? This persistent search bar was staying on the whole website. We're halfway. The metric was the conversion rate. No, here the conversion rate of the purchase. Very good question. 132 answer, 133, and let's move onwards. Inconclusive. Turns out it doesn't always help to search. Maybe different stage of awareness. Who knows where people were? A lot of people thought it was still a success, but no, we also show some stuff that are not success. Well, I guess it's time for the leaderboard. Woo! B, René. Wow, René, nice. All right. Keep the cart open. Slightly more complex. It's not a bug, it's a feature. Sometimes when your cart is here empty, your cart close automatically, which is regular. But sometimes, for some websites, what we saw, the cart was filled with items and still would close after 3 seconds. This, we thought, was a problem for the website. We better keep the cart, on, like the B version, fully open, even though people had item or no item. So overall, keeping the cart open when there is free or no item, was it a big success, medium success, little success, or inconclusive? And it was not a bug, it was a feature, or the other way around. All right, then I'll move to the next question. Little time left, so let's move on. It was a huge success. Simple feature as keeping the cart open can really dramatically increase the amount not only on checkout, but also conversion. Question number 6 out of 8. CTA copy. For that client, we just decided to make a micro change in the copy. So what you can see here in Dutch is on the left side you see choose size, and on the right side you see in the cart. we thought for this client that maybe choosing site would force people to choose sites, and then they're more likely to convert. Then we tried, okay, what if we drop this option, we just change puts directly in the cart? What does happen? Does it help the confusion? Does it reduce the confusion? So here we just change the copy. The button leads to the same place. It's just a difference of copy between choose size and in the cart. 3, 2, 1. Inconclusive. Many people thought apparently it would be a success, but no, it was inconclusive. All right. 7th question out of 8. We'll go a bit faster. Font size. A lot of people use very small font. For design. Want to go a bit too fast. So, guys, you still have the chance to answer. So what you see here, 14 pixels on the left side, 18 pixels on the right side. How good is it? You have 3 seconds left to answer. I already showed the answer, so you have 3 seconds left. 3, 2, 1, and next. Huge increase. So indeed, what you can see, a simple change as changing the font size can also disrupt the conversion rate. All right. Very last question. After that, we'll show the leaderboards, and then we'll close this session. All right. Scroll direction. This is an experiment we did with filling PCs. On the left side, what you can see is that you can scroll the picture vertically, and then you have the cart. The cart, you can also scroll to the cart. On the right side, we decided, what about scrolling horizontally? And then, again, the cart below. So this came from the client itself. The client thought, okay, we want to change the way people scroll to the page because it's make it harder or not to navigate. So this is more complex. All right, 3, 2, 1, time to answer. And it was inconclusive. This is a very good learning. That means your brand choice is what decides. It's not data, it's not UX, it's what your brand wants, it's what should be there. Thank you very much all for answering. Let's so quickly the leaderboards, and then we'll have a wrap up. The connections, and the winner is... Rody! Oh no, D2C.
Ooh.
All right.
We have 2 winners.
Rody. Congratulations, Rody.
Oh, nice.
We'll see you at the office then for a free session. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for participating.
Yeah, if you have any questions, come to us in the break and we'll tell you a bit more. So thanks a lot.
Have a good day.